So I keep trying really hard to do a very, very wordy video about why cultural representation is really important in Disney movies. I'm having a hard time with it. So the only thing I'm going to say right now is to every single white person that is watching and is part of the Disney community or whatever, if people from a certain background, if they are from a culture that is not yours, if they are a skin color that is not yours, if, you know, these things apply if they're a religion that's not yours, and they are telling you that in the media they are not being represented properly, you cannot tell them they're not. Because there's been a lot of really, really bad stuff happening lately, and, you know, in the last, however many years Disney's been making movies, where people of color kind of get swept under the rug a lot. And if they are featured, half the time they're a bunch of actually very individual cultures lumped together into one big or, you know, they get the short end of the stick and the main character of whatever story may be ends up not looking like a person for the entire story. You know, or you get, severely misrepresented as a people because your history is now known from books written by a bunch of old white guys. It happens, and it's bad, and we should correct these things, and we should acknowledge that these things have happened and are continuing to happen because it sucks if you're not a moderately attractive white person in our society. There's been a lot of stuff going on lately in the lack of advertising for Disney Pixar's film Coco. I completely agree. There's not a whole lot of advertising for it because I don't see it anywhere. And I live in California, where most of our population is Spanish speaking, and most of California is also Mexico. We have lots of people here from Mexico because we used to be part of it a good 200 something years ago. Let's shed some light on these people who've brought us so many cool things, and we're not. And it's gonna be one of those things where I feel like this movie's gonna come out and it's gonna be beautiful and it's gonna be amazing and people are gonna be like, well, it didn't do very well. You wanna know why it didn't do very well? Because I don't see anything for it anywhere. We've got a thing in the park, but you gotta pay admission to get into the park between now and the end of October to see it. There's gonna be some stuff happening in Walt Disney World, but again, you have to pay admission to get into Walt Disney World for this whole month to get to see any of it, at least in real life, and to get to experience and learn things about this in real life. Otherwise, you know, you gotta rely on social media and things that are being projected through, you know, eyes that might not be the most favorable, or, you know, through people who don't understand. But Lizzi, Elena of Avalor, is a Hispanic Latin character. She's from a made-up country. I have watched the show. She says maybe all of 4 or 5 Spanish words in an episode. Spanish-speaking countries all speak Spanish differently, and they have different holidays, they all eat different foods, they all dress differently. We're just gonna throw them all together in a big fart of a fake place, and even then not really have anything, which sucks a lot. We just kind of really miss the mark when it comes to people of color in Disney films and stuff. Pocahontas, man. Michael Eisner thought that movie was going to be like the greatest thing of all time, and I want to find him and ask him why. A lot of it is just bad. It's a beautiful movie, the songs are great, but the representation of Native American culture, I feel, is horrendously off. And the actual story of Pocahontas is horrendously off. It's just not good. None of it's good. In 2009, this is the first time we have had a black princess. It took until 2009! This isn't including Brandy as Cinderella, because Cinderella was already an established character in the Disney mythos, whatever. Like, and that was a TV movie. Princess and the Frog was the first time that a black girl was, like, the hero of the movie. And she spent most of the movie a frog! And her princess from a made-up country! Bruno Campos is from Brazil! And his character's just from an imaginary place. An imaginary place. I'm lucky enough in that I'm half Asian, and I've got Mulan. I'm not Chinese, but as a kid, Mulan came out, and she was a leading Asian female, and I said, that's me, that's mine. And I had a bajillion Mulan dolls, and I was Mulan for Halloween. She is a character, a hero, from a real place and a real point in time. Now, Mulan's story is a legend, so we don't know if it actually happened, but it's a story that has been told through that culture for centuries. It's a story that made it to me, and it made it to a bunch of other people who could see it and be like, that's me, that's mine. You know? And the fact that she's also voiced by an Asian woman, most of the cast is voiced by Asian actors. They may not all be Chinese, but they are all Asian actors, and that's unfortunately good enough. And there's the thing. Princess Jasmine, who is a person of color, Aladdin, also, you know, that entire movie is set in a made-up place. The song at the opening is Arabian Nights, but they're from a made-up country called Agrabah. And both of the leading protagonists, actually, all of the principal characters, are voiced by white people. With the exception of Jasmine's singing voice, which is Lea Salonga, who also provides the singing voice for Mulan. Because apparently we only know one Asian girl that sings. Can you see where this is a problem? Because it's a problem. Now, I can't tell you how advertising for Mulan went, because, I mean, they had a whole parade in Disneyland, and I saw it. But again, it's a limited audience thing. There was a Pocahontas show. Pocahontas and Mulan have since been included in various entertainment offerings in the parks, but that's still, again, a very limited audience because it's only people who can get to the parks. And it's cool that they still get that representation, but they're really, part of the reason they're only getting it is because the music from those respective films is incredible. And so they're choosing the music more than they're choosing the characters. Let's be real. It is super cool that we decided to do very diverse casting for Frozen Live at the Hyperion, and it is super cool that we made an attempt at diverse casting for Frozen on Broadway. We just keep moving towards the same thing that we've always done. I don't understand why entertainment industries are so scared of people that aren't white. It blows my mind that, especially Disney, has gone so long, so many years, with such a lack of cultural representation. And like, Moana's another thing. She's from a made-up island. She's a cluster of cultures, and I have heard on a couple of occasions that not all of them are represented, not all of them are represented accurately, and that's sad. It's really sad to have the one thing that you can relate to, you can't really, because it's incorrect. It is an incorrect visual of who you are. And then people who aren't familiar with your cultures see these films and assume that that's just what your life is like, you know? Because there's that sort of ignorance in the world where we just assume that when we see things about cultures we are unfamiliar with, that's it. That's 100%, we know exactly what it's like now. It's not. Like, I don't sit in a position where I can be like, here, let's do a thing solely based on this. And these people, and this place specifically, and these people from this place, and not, well, this group of people has some similarities with this group of people, and they both kind of are the same as this one, so let's just put them all together and make one big thing. It doesn't work well. It doesn't work well because then it's trying too hard to get little bits of this and that into everything. We should just pick a thing and focus on the place and that place's particular stuff. Again, the driving force behind this video was the backlash about the lack of advertising for Coco. I'm very excited to see Coco. I know very, very, very vague things about the holiday it is based on. As someone who grew up in California, I have seen here and there, you know, things of Mexican culture, and they're the things they celebrate, but I don't know a whole lot about it. So I'm very excited to see this movie, and I hope that for all of my Hispanic friends, this is a good representation of your life. It's one of those things where it's here, it's happening, and we should hope for the best, but we should also hold this company to a very high standard, and if they are missing their mark, we shouldn't be afraid to let them know. Because I'm tired of seeing people like me and my friends and so many other people in this world go seemingly unnoticed by mainstream media and by big worldwide, like, film companies. Because there are so many beautiful people and worlds outside of this bubble that has been created, and it, like, physically pains me to know that I don't know anything about them because they've never been brought into my home with a name like Disney's, you know? And I think other people like myself and whoever may be out there who don't think much about representation because they've always been represented in their lives should really think hard before they get upset over other people talking about the lack of diversity and the lack of representation. And okay, so I know y'all have noticed that Andrew's not in this video. He decided to sit out because he feels...
As a straight white man, it's not my place.
Exactly, and if that doesn't pick up, he said as a straight white man, he feels it's not his place to talk about this kind of thing. As a half-Asian queer lady, I feel completely chill talking about this. So here we are. Gonna be very clear here in obviously my views and opinions are nothing but my own and not that of the Walt Disney Companies. But, you know, I've been really upset this entire video and it shows, and it's reasonable, I think. Right? Right. So, again, if you are not a part of a people that are saying they're being wronged, you can't tell them they're not. You really really can't. You have no place. If what they're saying upsets you, maybe you should take a step back and look at why you're getting upset about it. That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed watching me get very, very intense and very upset about this, because it's something that really matters to me. Speak up for your friends of color. Speak up for your friends who are underrepresented or misrepresented, or, you know, just show them that you really do care about them. When they say something is wrong and you don't understand, have them explain it to you. Don't get upset, but have them explain it to you. And then be upset with them. Representation matters. So thanks for watching. Maybe we'll see you next week. I don't know. We leave for vacation soon and I'm ready to get the heck out of here for a little while. But stick around. We try to post regularly. I can make no guarantees. Andrew likes to try.